This last time, he almost killed me in front of my daughter.
In the 15 years I've been in law enforcement, I've never seen anybody that was in that kind of shape.
The local prosecutor called this a misdemeanor assault.
The most she could receive is 150 days in jail.
Welcome to the Just Turner Talk Show. I'm Miss Lorraine, and today we're going to explore reasons why those in abusive relationships don't walk away. Why don't they leave? Until you are in an abusive relationship yourself, you probably won't understand the dynamics involved in trying to escape, because as we will discover in this segment, there are many factors to consider, and it's not always easy to walk away. Abusive relationships are extremely complex situations, and it takes a lot of courage to leave. Abuse is about power and control. And when a survivor leaves their abusive relationship, they threaten the power and control of their partner that their partner has established over them. And this often causes the partner to retaliate in harmful ways. And as a result, leaving is often the most dangerous period of time for survivors of abuse. But beyond the physical risks of leaving an abusive situation, there are countless other reasons why people stay in their relationships. And no matter the circumstances, survivors deserve to be supported in their decision-making and empowered to reclaim control over their own lives. And for anyone aware of someone, a friend, colleague, a family member experiencing abuse and violence at home, one of the biggest questions is often, why don't they just walk away? I mean, it's easier said than done. So that's what we're going to discover in this segment. So again, if you're not in a situation such as this, asking the question, why don't they just walk away? We have to first understand, what are they dealing with other than the abuse? It can be difficult to understand the extent of the intimidating control, and the practical hurdles in getting out, not to mention the complex feelings the survivor of abuse has to unpack. So common reasons why people stay in abusive relationships include fear. Fear is number one, fear. And we're going to listen to Miss Gruel's ordeal as she explains why she stayed. Let's listen in.
You stayed with this guy.
Yeah, I didn't have a choice. I mean, he told me, and I absolutely, that's the part that always so interesting to me. It's like, the standard question, why did you leave? Why didn't you leave? Why didn't you leave? Well, he was trained by the United States Marine Corps to hunt people down and kill them. And he told me if I left, he would hunt me down and kill me. That's why I didn't leave. I used to pull what he would call my disappearing acts. And that would be, I would, get the boys and get out, because it just was getting too intense. But I would always go back, because at least I knew where he was. At least I knew the routine. I knew what to expect. But, it's a terrible way to live, to always be looking over your shoulder. He didn't start out with being abusive. He started out with being incredibly sweet and incredibly attentive and incredibly thoughtful and incredibly kind, and saying things to me that no one had ever said, and paying attention to me in ways that no one ever had. And I was really taken by it.
A person will likely be afraid of the consequences if they decide to leave their relationship. And this could be fear of their partner's actions or concern over their own ability to be independent. Again, fear is real. And there are people, men and women, living in abusive relationships, and they fear for their life. They fear for their family. Why don't they leave? Number one, fear. And what about normalized abuse? If someone grew up in an environment where abuse was common, they may not know what a healthy relationship looks like. And as a result, they may not recognize that their partner's behaviors are unhealthy or abusive. And what about shame? This person that you fell in love with and you told your parents and your friends that me and him, me and her, we're going to live together. We're going to have this perfect marriage, because shame and pride keeps our mouth closed, and we just deal with it because we don't want the world to know. So it can be difficult for someone to admit that they've been or are being abused. They may feel that they've done something wrong, that they deserve the abuse, or that experiencing abuse is a sign of weakness. But we have to remember that blame shifting is a common tactic that their partner may be using and can reinforce a sense of responsibility for their partner's abusive behaviors. And then there's that intimidation. A survivor may be intimidated into staying in an abusive relationship by threats. They can be verbal or physical, or threats to spread information, including secrets or confidential details. Let's think about this for a moment, especially for the LGBTQ plus society. These people who haven't come out yet, but then their partner threatens them that they're going to out them to keep them in an abusive situation. Intimidation, just to keep you under control in that relationship. And then another big one is denial. Let's listen to Leslie Steiner's ordeal. Let's listen in.
Why did I stay? Why does any woman stay? And for the life of me, I can't understand why people are obsessed with it, because to me, it's so obvious. Why does anybody stay with somebody that they love? You know, we've all been in relationships that, even if they weren't abusive, we're not working any longer, and we all stay far longer than we want. And you stay for the same reasons. You stay because you love the person, or you love what you used to have, or you're trying to take care of your children. Why would somebody abuse? Why would somebody beat the people who love him or her most on earth? Until we ask that question, we won't be able to obliterate domestic violence. We have got to focus on the perpetrators of violence, not the victims. The first full-out physical attack was 5 days before the wedding. Part of me knew I had to leave him right then, that I couldn't marry somebody who had done this. But then this other part of me said, but wait, it was one time. And I told myself he'd never do it again, that I was sure he was very sorry, and I didn't leave. I married him. And it was the most terrible feeling to know that I could leave, and I still couldn't leave, because I was bound by this psychological trap that I thought was love, that wasn't love. You know, I had so much denial. If you had come to me and said, are you being physically abused? You know, if my doctor had asked me, or a best friend, I would have said, no, I'm not being physically abused.
You see, denial in an abusive relationship is a coping skill abuse victims tend to overuse. The first stage of a battered women syndrome is denial. Denial occurs when an individual refuses to believe in reality. When a woman or man is being subjected to the cycle of abuse, they might not realize that they are suffering from domestic violence. And these techniques may make an abused person feel as if they are going crazy. That's not abuse. And you know what? You know, abuse is not always just a person putting their hands on you. Abuse can be verbal, can be emotional. It don't always have to be physical. A person calling you out your name, putting you down, making you feel small, it's just, those things are abuse. Even sexual abuse. Yes, I'm saying it, sexual abuse. If you tell your partner no, and they force themselves on you, you are being sexually abused. And even though you may be married to them, no means no. And if anyone forces himself on you, it is you're being sexually abused. So don't just think we're just talking about somebody going upside your head or pushing you into a wall, choking you and all that. No, I'm talking about all types of abuse. So these techniques may make an abused person feel as if they're crazy. And often the cycle of abuse increases as time progresses. And then low self-esteem. And there are a lot of people walking around in this world with low self-esteem, and it's all because of how they were brought up or the things that people have fed them over time. Because after experiencing verbal abuse or blame for physical abuse, it can be easy for survivors to believe that these sentiments. They may believe that they are at fault for their partner's abusive behaviors. So we have to think about every dynamic aspect of why a person don't leave. These are things that they're dealing with. Low self-esteem, being intimidated, fear. But what about lack of resources? Beverly Gooden's ordeal is what we're going to listen to now. Let's listen in.
It's cliche, but he really was Prince Charming. He was very kind and sweet and nice. I left what I was doing to come and be with him, and I was alone with him. I didn't have any friends or family in the area. I couldn't find a job, so he paid the bills, and so we got into an argument, and that's the first time that he hit me. He actually threw me up against the wall and started to choke me, and I didn't really understand what was happening because he was not that person all this time, and so when he finally let me go, I thought it was something I did. I wasn't thinking to run. After we got married, it didn't stop. It just got worse and worse and worse. And I felt like I was trapped. At that point, we had moved from where we were across the country again, and I was further isolated. I didn't have any friends or family, and essentially he still was the breadwinner. I was dependent on him. So if I left, what was I going to do? Where was I going to go? How was I going to take care of myself? I felt like no one would understand, and I felt like no one would care. With every violent moment, I felt further connected to him in this kind of twisted way. I felt that, we had this secret that bound us together, and that this was something big, and we were working on it, and so we had to stay together until we worked it out. The violence got to a point where I realized that I could die. I had to create a plan. I had to figure out where I was going to go and how I was going to get there and who I was going to reach out to for help if there was any. I was scared. I was afraid that he would find me. I was afraid that he would be so angry that I left, that he would come after me. I couldn't just get up and walk away. You do feel isolated, and you keep a lot of secrets. You keep a lot of secrets in your heart, in your home, in your head. I stayed because I believed him when he said he wasn't going to do it again. I stayed because I didn't have anywhere to go. I didn't have any money. I didn't have access to any resources. I stayed because my religious community convinced me that I couldn't get divorced because God would hate me. I stayed because I loved him. I stayed because he was the love of my life, and I wanted to believe that love could conquer all, including abuse.
You see, survivors may be financially dependent on their abusive partner, or have previously been denied opportunities to work, a place to sleep on their own, language assistance, or a network to turn to during moments of crisis. Again, in the beginning, we talked about how they isolate you from your family and your friends. They won't let you work. They want you to stay bound at home, bound under their control. And again, we're going to look at a video at the end. And this is just so sad that people live like this. And what if you have a disability that you are dependent on someone for their physical support? It may make you feel that your well-being is directly tied to that relationship, that this person, yes, they're abusing me, but I need them to bathe me. I need them to feed me. But yeah, I'm being abused, but I need them to dress me. I need them to take me to my doctor's appointment. Yeah, I'm being abused, but I need for them to cook for me. I need for them to clean my home. Yes, I'm being abused, but I'm disabled. I can't do these things on my own. I'm being abused, but I'm going to stay because at least they're doing some things that I need help with. What about immigration status? People who are undocumented, may fear that reporting abuse will affect their immigration status. So again, and I'm sure there are a lot of people that are undocumented that are living in abusive situations, and they're not going to say anything because they don't want to be found out. Cultural context. Traditional customs or beliefs may influence someone's decision to stay in an abusive situation, whether held by the survivor or by their family and community. Having children, just the children. Many survivors may feel guilty or responsible for disrupting their family unit, and keeping the family together is priority number one. I got to keep my family together because guess what? The children need their mother. Their children need their father. Keeping the family together may not only be something that a survivor may value, but may also be used as a tactic by their partner to guilt a survivor into staying. And love. We're going to listen to Mildred Muhammad's ordeal. Let's listen in.
One of the reasons why we stay is because the behavior is such a drastic change from the person we met in the beginning. And we're constantly looking for the man in the beginning instead of concentrating on the man that is in front of us. Once I understood that, then I made the decision, I gotta go. This is not the same man I married. I mean, I love him, but he's gonna kill me.
Experiencing abuse and feeling genuine care for your partner who is causing you harm, survivors often still have strong, intimate feelings for their abusive partner. That's why so many leave and come back. They leave and they come back because they love this person so much. And they think that if they go back, things will be different. Things will be different. They may have children together, want to maintain their family, or the person abusing them may simply be charming, especially at the beginning of a relationship. And the survivor may hope that their partner will return to being that person. I'm gonna work on her. I'm gonna work on him, and I'm gonna get that person back that I fell in love with 10 years ago, 20 years ago. I'm gonna get that person back. No matter the reason, leaving any relationship can be difficult. Doing so isn't. Abusive situation can feel impossible about the right access to support. In 2021, Twitter did an analysis of responses to the Why I Stayed campaign, and it revealed how complex these feelings can be. It also speaks to the powerful influence that social commentaries around relationships, marriage, and the family have. Some people tweeted, "Marriage is forever." Some tweeted, "I didn't want to run when we hit a rough patch." And children need like I said earlier, they need their father, they need their mother. Further, the study showed the power that social expectations on romance and love exert. As one person tweeted, "The first time he hits you, you tell yourself it was an isolated incident. He's remorseful, you forgive, life is normal again." How many times have that type of scenario has happened? You get abused and then they bring you flowers or they bring you a gift. So they can be remorseful and you can forgive them, but that doesn't mean you have to stay. Okay. So research has shown that forgiveness stems from a person's desire to maintain the relationship as being a primary life goal, even at the expense of their own safety. So we forgive, they're remorseful, so we forgive them, but we want to keep the family together because guess what? The children need their parent, need the other parents, okay? Abusers can be skillful when it comes to manipulating a survivor's feelings of love. They will say things like, "If you love me, you would." They will also use survivors' feelings of care and concern to try to prevent them from leaving, commonly making threats to harm or kill themselves if they do. Y'all remember the movie with Glenn Close and Michael Douglas, what was it called? Fatal Attraction. And remember when he was trying to cut the affair off, how she cut her wrist. Now, me watching, I was saying, okay, that those are superficial wounds because she didn't cut it the right way. If she was serious, she would have cut it the right way, but she didn't. But how he panicked, and wanted to stay by her side because guilt, huh? So abusers know the thought of potential harm to the abuser causes the survivor distress. So as Glenn Close did to Michael Douglas, caused him distress. He was thinking about, I don't want her to kill herself. So they'll try to keep you in a relationship because they want to make you feel that if you leave me, I'm going to kill myself. And so a lot of people will stay in a relationship because they don't want that guilt. They don't want that guilt. Even though the survivor has done nothing wrong, but the abuser will make them feel like it's your fault. If I kill myself, if I get hurt, it's your fault. And so what does the survivor do? They stay. In my conclusion, if you know of someone or you yourself are in an abusive relationship, please know that there is help. You don't have to do this alone. The National Domestic Violence Hotline is available 24/7 at 1-800-799-SAFE or 1-800-799-7233. Or you may text the word START to 88788. And all this information will be at the end. Thank you for tuning in to the Just Turner Talk Show. And remember, as Just Turner will always say, don't ponder it in your heart. Let's talk about it on the next Just Turner Talk Show. Until next time, be safe and enjoy life.
These are for you, sweetheart.
Oh, they're lovely.
I love you. What have you been doing all day?
I tidied up, I've not stopped. I've just sat.
Look at the lamp. Dust all over that. Get it sorted. What are you doing?
It's my sister.
You really going to answer that when we're having lunch?
I've not seen her in ages.
Go on then, let's spot it. Go on. Answer it. Go on. Go on. You daft cow. Why have you bought all this expensive junk? I'll have to give you less money next time. Can't do anything right, can you? Yeah, Tom. Your mother's dressed like a clown. You should see it. It's classic, Liz. The only thing that's missing is a red nose. I'll start calling her Krusty from now on. Hello. I've messaged your dad. Told him I can't make his birthday. Can't be bothered with all your gang ignoring me.
Right.
It's just us. Get these cobwebs cleaned up. Wake up, you lazy pig. Looks ridiculous. Shut up. Think about it before you say anything. Why do you make me do these things? You're not going anywhere. You're staying here. You're staying here. You're staying here.
That was me, stuck in a cycle of abuse day after day, walking on eggshells in my own home. I reached out, I got the support I needed to leave him, and you can too.